An interactive webinar will be presented by Dr. Vijay Sethi sir and will be providing us with the idea-friendly approach to apply Bloom's taxonomy that will enhance educators' abilities to plan, deliver, and assess educational courses, workshops, lessons, and training. Now, Vijay sir, I would like to request you to take the lead and enlighten us, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Today's session on instructional objectives, or in otherwise, I have been given the topic as Bloom's taxonomy, though I got the clarification that it is regard to be in relation to the what we call as integration towards the lesson planning, that how we took the content into consideration while preparing the instructional objectives. So, keeping those considerations of yours into point of view, I had prepared the presentation, but before I start, I would like to share with the teachers of different subjects, for example, the science, mathematics, English, and of course, economics, and even social studies also, that I will be at the end of my session, I will be giving you some chapters, those who you are already teaching, either of class 7th, 6th, or 8th, and there are some chapters that I had chosen. So I'm just sharing that before you so that you may be able to do something, because you all had already done the B.Ed program. So as a result of that, I had chosen some chapters. For maths, I had chosen a class 7th chapter of fraction, and similarly the for science, I had chosen the class 7th chapter of acids and bases, and for social sciences, I had chosen the class 11th chapter 4 of economics, and for also for again from class 11th, that is bar charts, and for representation, and for English, I had chosen the class 7th for one poem, that is snake, and also the grammar part, that is noun. So these are the topics that I would like to have your viewpoint on the preparation of the objectives, that how they are going to be prepared for these chapters. So I would request the concerned teachers to just have a exercise side by side, so that we may be able to discuss later about the content and the instructional objectives related to that. Major aspect of decision about what we teach and how we teach and what to measure about the student learning. So this is the basic, I would say. And if we talk about in terms of the students aspect, it is always in the words of Albert Einstein, we say that it is not the education is not the learning of the facts. Basically, we our teaching has focused on to that only, that we are talking about the facts only, but it is the training of the mind to think. Now, when we talk about thinking, now thinking is the one thing that as a result of that, what we are learning earlier. If we talk about the Gurukul system was focused upon that Manan, Chintan, Nididhyay. Now, this was the ancient philosophy of India, which was talked about that first is Manan, when you are memorizing the thing, the second is the Chintan. Chintan is the second aspect, that is the you are thinking about that, you are reflecting on that, and Nididhyaya is the practice of that particular thing continuously, and that will lead to the learning. So what that things has been taken up when the formal schooling has started. Now this our Bloom in America, they have talked about that how to measure what we are teaching and whether the children are able to learn that. That was the focus with which this Bloom's taxonomy was prepared, along with the other educators or psychologists you can call. And the Bloom's has given this in terms of one aspect that he talked about, that education must be increasingly concerned about the fullest development. Now, this is all we talk about every time when we discuss education. We talk about in the sense of that it is the development of body, mind, and spirit. If we talk about in the sense of the development, child development, we talk about that it is the holistic development of the child, taking his all domains of development. So that was the Bloom's definition, that it said that it is the fullest development of all children and youth, and it will be the responsibility of the schools to seek learning conditions which will enable each individual to reach the highest level of learning. Now, that is the basic thought with which this taxonomy was prepared. And if we talk about a little bit of why we prepare these objectives, so that is we are trying to recognize the behavior. Now, whether I am teaching mathematics, or I am teaching poetry, or I am teaching the social concepts, it is basically that we need to identify the behavior, whatever I had taught shall be reflected among the children. So that is the one a major aspect, that with the help of the teaching, with the preparation of the objective, I am able to recognize the behavior what I am teaching, and that is coming out in the students. The second thing is confinement to the lesson content towards the specific knowledge, that what is the most important outcome that is possible in that particular lesson. The third thing is that we are channelizing our teaching. We are making ourselves clear that what we intend to teach in the class, what we make the learning reflect in the behavior of the children, so that teacher is also becomes very clear about how the things should move. Then what content we want to teach and how we want to achieve, that is explicitly stated with the help of the objective. And then lastly, the measurement aspect, that we must be able to measure the child in terms of what learning that has taken place in the child. So this is the one aspect of the instruction objective. The other are the similar purposes, which when we talk about that, we are talking about the methods, that how we can teach so that the children should elicit those behaviors. Then what type of materials we are going to use in as tools, or what we as teaching it aids or materials or resources, or the labs that we are going to use, what technique we are going to use for evaluation. So those all things are needed to be planned. Then we need to have the this instructional objective as a guide for the teacher to evaluate the learning of these children. Then criteria for judging performance, that how you are going to place the students. So this all things are going to be based upon the on these objectives. Now, as I had started with that, we used to hear about these four terminologies: general objective, specific objective. These are the two terminologies we use. But in reality, if we talk about from the book sense, the words that are being utilized are instructional objectives and the behavioral objectives. Now, what are these two terms are? Instructional objective is a term which is written from the point of view of the teacher, and is thought to be in terms of measurable by the behavior of the learner. So we intend to write that. But then second, another concept comes up, that is the behavioral objective, which is the later. Now, instructional objective is the Western concept, but behavioral objective has been more oriented. When we talk about in the instructional objective, when we defined it like that, we are trying to write it in terms of the behavior of the learner. The name had been more modified into behavioral objective, but the certain conditions have been put. That one is the circumstance, another is the condition, and third one is the performance. So those three things are dependent upon from which the behavioral objectives are created. Just you are adding up the condition and the criteria. So that is the instructional objective modified to with the addition of condition and criteria, and you make it a behavioral objective. So that is the change in this behavior. So otherwise, the if we talk about the general objective, you are teaching in a CBSE school, and if you go through the contents of the book, any book, either it is a civics book, or it is an English book, or it is a science book, go to the acknowledgement aspect or go to the previous page, you will find the book has some specific purpose. Now, what that purpose is, so that is basically written, and that comes out with one or the other topic. Either of the objective is related. Now, making up a holistic development of the child, that is general objective. To make the child to write in a grammar correct sentences in with full uh, correct grammar, is again a objective which is journal in nature. Similarly, to develop the social skills of the learner, Now that is again a general objective. Then again, to do the multiplication of multiplication correctly is again a general objective for a higher order student. So based upon the different subjects, there are some general objectives to teach that particular subject. So those are basically, and out of the whole lot of what you talk about in terms of aims also, whole lot of them, some are uh, always related to the topic that is at hand with the teacher to teach. So I'm putting up some of the examples of these general objectives. For example, in geography, you can have one of the general object to enable them to work for making the world a better place. Then for science, to develop the habit of observation, questioning, and experimenting. Then similarly for language, English reader, to promote among learners the habit of reading independently and with interest, understanding, and enjoyment. Now, these are the general objectives, and these you can write it from the point of view of the content that is available at hand, and to relate it with the purpose of the teaching of that particular whole of the book. So that is the general objective, and these are more or less everybody is able to write. Then we come to the specific objective. As I had already said, that specific objectives are objectives written in terms of instruction objective or either behavioral objective, depending upon the context of the content. And these are written specifically because why we write it specific, because in a chapter you may have 4, 5, or even 10 instructional objectives, but depending upon the content, the time period we have, the class we have, you may be able to achieve only 2 or 3 objectives within that stipulated period of 35 minutes. So as a result, instead of writing the instructional objective, the word specific objective has been in use most of the time. So it is more or less like the instructional objective. Now, if you take into consideration, they describe the process of water cycle, enlist the formula of calculating the profit, describe the significance of being unicellular or multicellular, write a Java program of showing Indian Standard Time through multi-threading technique. Now, in all these words, there are some action words with which the sentence has been started. Describe, enlist, write. Now, these words are basically the action verbs. Now, which are going to reflect what I am thinking at which level. So that is the our specific objectives. Now, giving the some of the examples uh, from the point of view of the instructional objectives. So herein you can find out that explain. Now you have to just see that what change it goes into when we talk about the behavioral objective. Now explain how the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system work together. Now this is the one example of from the science. Then recognize the different types of triangles based on angles. Now from the mathematics, the student is able to recognize there are obtuse angle, there is a uh, isosceles angle. Now those type of triangles based on angles, whatever the child is there, if those are placed before him at any point of time, he is maybe able to recognize. Then differentiate between synchronous and asynchronous environment from the computer science. That there are synchronous environments wherein the two-way communication is there all the time, and asynchronous when it is not there. So how the child is able to differentiate between these two, that is again the differentiate word is thinking about that he is maybe able to see the two things together. Then identify zone of an area based on the latitudes and longitudes. Now this is a concept of class 6th of social studies wherein the longitudes and latitudes are being taught. Now based on the learning of the latitude and longitude, is the student is able to identify a particular area, okay, that in which zone it is falling, either it in a torrid zone or it is a temperate zone or the frigid zone. So where it is falling. So that is the way that how we make the instruction objectives. Now these are the some of the examples of now herein explain word is the action verb, recognize is the action verb, differentiate is the action verb, and identify is the action verb. Now these are the different action verbs with which these instruction objectives has been there. Now see the examples of the behavioral objective. Now there is firstly if you can see here, there is firstly the condition, given fractions. Now this is the condition and not previously covered in the class. the student will be able to divide them. Now this is the performance condition. With the performance, student will be able to divide them with 85% accuracy. Now this is the accuracy part, is the third important thing that has been added: the condition, performance and accuracy, to how much the child is able to do it. For majority of the children we are talking about, this is the minimum level of expectancy there, that for all the children taking together. Now if the child is able to do these three things, it becomes a behavioral objective with some specific terminologies, that you are putting it into a condition and you are suggesting the performance, and you are also making it the accuracy. Performance standard also is there. Now that accuracy is the standard that with which we you can expect, yes, the learning is has undertook. Then second thing, the student will describe the interrelationship among the play and student will describe the interrelationship among acts in a play. Now what acts have been shared in the book, in the novel, and how those acts can be interrelated. So that thing is the performance, that he may be able to relate the one act with the another act. So if he is doing that, one is relationship, then the performance is that he is going to describe them. That is, in English we cannot put it into the accuracy term, so therefore that part is missing. Then student will be able to design a study outside of the class that addresses a given problem. The experiment should contain 6 components given in the class. Now 6 components given in the class is the condition, and student will be able to design a study, that is the performance, and to address a given problem is the condition. So this, the given a condition, that is a problem, the student is able to design a performance, and the accuracy, that he must be able to involve all the 6 components into his design. So that is the behavioral objective with which this, for a science class. Then similarly from the class this social studies, we have from memory, the with 80% accuracy, the student will match each state with its capital. Now that is again a context that is there, that he is able to 80% accuracy, whatever number of questions that you give to him to answer the capital, he is able to give answers accurately for 80% of the questions. So this is the way that how we write the behavioral objectives. So most of the time we do not write this into the lesson plans, but definitely the instructional objectives are written most of the time. And if we are able to write the instructional objectives correctly, I am sure that you will be able to relate your contents to the needed taxonomy level. Now starting the main part, now giving the example, now starting the main part of our interaction, that is the Bloom's taxonomy. Now it is a hierarchical model of the educational learning objectives depending upon the level of complexity and specificity. So this is the Bloom's taxonomy that we are talking about, and there are 3 levels for all the 3 aspects that is there with respect to our classroom environment. The first is our when we talk about the left brain and the right brain, we always say that left brain is dealing with your psychomotor, and the right brain is dealing with your content matter. Now that knowledge and understanding what we are talking about, now that again is divided in our brain, that this is the psychomotor domain area of the mind, and this is the cognitive area of the mind, and this is the affective. Generally in simple language, what we call that chota dimag. Now that chota dimag is in the behind of our mind, our brain, that is the affective domain. So all the things that we do, the most important aspect is that two, cognitive and psychomotor cannot go together. In most of the situations, the cognitive and affective work one in one. And in most of the classrooms, it is the affective domain of the child which is affected as a result of the teaching by the teacher. Now, this affective domain, if it is worked upon properly, the learning will be much faster, and because that connect that is possible between the teacher and the learner, that is only possible if the effective domain gets worked out. So mostly taking into, we are focusing into our classrooms, the content part is more focused upon, the effective and psychomotors are less focused upon. Not firstly we will be talking about cognitive, because if this is going to be considered more properly, So because you can go into the books, go into the teacher's handbooks, you will find the cognitive domain has been written very, very precisely by all the experts that are there. Now, taking into consideration, firstly, the cognitive domain. Now, this domain is knowledge domain. Affective is your attitudinal or the feeling domain. Then the psychomotor is your skill-based domain. Now, this all domain, both all the three domains work on at different levels. Now, this is the cognitive domain, which is the related to your intellectual abilities. Whatever we share now in today's world, it is not the teacher only from where the child is getting the knowledge. The child is getting knowledge from his friends, from his smartphones, from his interaction through the blogs, interaction through the educational apps like Byju's and all that. So there is the intellectual ability capacity to increase is very, very high. If the child is interacting at a different level, the purpose of this taxonomy lecture is that we must be able to think that how we can make the child to think at higher order. Now, basically, our teaching is focused upon the lower level of thinkings. That is we are just sharing our content in the book and making it a simplified content and sharing it with the children so that they are able to understand. And that we feel as if that we have done a great duty to the child, that we have been able to explain the content more in a more easier way. Wherever our purpose is to make them think at a higher order. And now that is possible when we are trying to master the content properly. And if that mastery of the content is going to be there, it is going to definitely make us understand how we can make the child to think at a higher level. Now we will be talking about that in our class when we talk about the content. Similarly, the affective domain, now which is related to your feelings, relating to the, because whatever the attitude the child is going to develop for certain kind of things, either it is the related to personality, related to the teaching, related to some behaviors, related to the careers. So all those things are going to be developed here. So whatever the aesthetic aspects is that is also going to be developed in the affective domain. Then we have the third, the psychomotor domain, wherever the skill, our limbs are involved. Either it is the leg, or it is the hands, or it is the your other body parts that you are going to use for doing something. So those kind of things are basically the psychomotor domain. So everything wherever your body limbs are involved, either as a motor mechanic, or as a carpenter, or as a writer, or as a mechanic of mobiles, everything, whatever, even if the writing of the of into a specific calligraphy. Now that is again a example of psychomotor domain, and you cannot move into the next level. So combining, deriving, discuss, generalize, integrate, prove, restate, summarize, synthesize. Now most of the time, this English language or the languages aspect, the synthesis is most of the time being done, analysis is most of the time done. Whereas in the sciences and the mathematics, the situations will become very few in terms of analysis and synthesis level. But analysis will be possible, synthesis level will not be possible. But in languages, you can have a lot of things to synthesize. When you talk about the grammar aspect, taking the smash, or the or what we call as the new words, taking them together and framing the sentences, taking all those words that have come into the book to create a new story. So those kind of things, or the phrases that are coming up, or the type of dohas or the couplets that are coming in the book, and making them together, and what is they are relating to. So all those kind of things are possible in the languages, and the English language and Hindi language. Then is the last level of our domain teaching is the evaluation. Now this level is always very, very difficult, and this is only possible when we are understanding the concept as a whole fully. And if this is all going to be judging one phenomena with another, when we are making the things clear. For example, when we are talking about the water the evaporation or water cycle as a whole. So what is the role of evaporation? What is the role of the Himalayan region, the rivers or like that? So that is the component wise we have been able to understand. But as a whole, what is the role of the water cycle in the system? How the now in Indian situation, now we are talking about a water cycle. Now, does the water cycle, if it is not there, how the things will be changing in Punjab? Or if the water level decreases to this extent, so what is going to be the situation that is coming up? So evaluating the situation, that how this has come up, or judging the phenomena that has come up. Now the type of soils. Yesterday I was looking into a movie. The type of soils. Now we generally talk about in the context that there is a red soil in Punjab, and there is a black soil where the cotton is required in Rajasthan or in Maharashtra. Now, just talking about the red soil in the northern plains, there is a red soil. But why it is so that in Bathinda there is no crop getting grown just because of waterlogging? Now, why does that waterlogging happen when it is the red soil and it is a very fertile soil? Why so no agriculture is going to be there? So that kind of a situation where is the water availability is there, the fertility of the soil or the type of the soil is there, but still the fertility of the soil is not there, and as a result the crop production is less in that area. So that is we are trying to evaluate the situation. So this type of things are the what we when we are able to do, that is called as the evaluation level of thinking. So for that we use the action verbs: associate, criticize, conclude, defend, verify, support, and summarize. So this is again the some of the levels which we are able to do. And if we comprehend into all together, so analysis is knowledge is basically when we are just recalling whatever we have gone through in the previous sessions or previous time. Then comprehension is the ability to grasp the meaning of material, whatever we are grasping, that we are able to do in the classrooms, then making them simpler content so that child may be able to understand that, or I am able to understand that, comprehend that. Then thirdly, application. We are able to use the learned material and apply it into different situations. Analysis, we are able to break the content into smaller parts, and we are able to identify their role in the total segment. And the synthesis is when we are taking up into them together and trying to create something new, or understanding as a whole that how the things are going to move. And evaluation, if the situation is like this, ideal situation is like this, and if we change this ideal situation, how the things are going to be changing. So that is the evaluation part of thinking. So this is the levels that we have talked about. So if we talk about the in totality the action verbs, so this is all the repetition of what we have done earlier. So you will be able to use these action verbs in your for the preparation of your this uh, lesson plan. Now coming to the change, that when we talk about the Bloom's taxonomy in 1967, what has changed into 2001 revised Bloom's taxonomy, we have just renamed some things. The knowledge now is said to be the remembering, rest is the same, and evaluation has been just changed to create. So this is the change just we have been able to see in this new world, that synthesis has been changed into a creating, evaluation has remained as evaluating only, rest is all same. The creating, I can plan or I can do something, evaluate is again judging, analyzing is logically identifying the things, applying, using it, and understanding, comprehending, and remembering, I know it. So with this we can move into the practice session. So if you have all done it, so I would uh, like to call upon firstly the maths teacher, that for the chapter fractions, what type of the objectives she has been able or he has been able to prepare for that. So we will be able to share and we can able to discuss this thing. Over to you, ma'am.
Sorry. Yes, Vijay sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I was just requesting the maths teacher to share his instruction objectives on the topic fractions.
Right, sir. Sir, maths teacher, sir, I would request, followed by sir, science, social science, and English.
Short summary of the poem and ask them that how many poems they have read related to that snake, and whether they are really dangerous, all the time dangerous, or sometimes they are dangerous. How many types of snakes you are familiar with? Why does a snake slides behind the grasses? Is the snake a dangerous animal, very scared of a human being, or are the human beings scaring the snakes? So all these things may come up in the comprehension part. Then we go for the application part. In the application part, the teacher may ask them questions that how exactly you're going to notice and observe the movement of the snake. What all do you observe about the snake? Whether the snake is very smooth, whether it has a nice texture. Are you scared of snakes? A lot of question answers, a lot of interactions with the students in order to make them grasp the idea behind that poem. And then we shall go to the analysis, where we need to divide the entire poem into different structures, different parts, where we are going to test the rhyming scheme. What are the different rhyming scheme of the poem, and the different poetic devices, what are the different comparisons which have been made. So all this will come under the analysis part. Synthesis, we are just going to integrate the entire thing, right from the summary, the figure of speeches, the theme, the messages, and what does the poet want to convey. We are going to put it under the synthesis part. And finally, the evaluation, whether the children have understood the poem or not, whether the purpose of the poem has been served or not, and what are the values which the child has learned in the class. This is how we are going to prepare the lesson plan according to Bloom taxonomy.
Okay, shall
Right. Perfectly fine.
Yes.
Perfectly fine. Just the thing to add that wherein we are into evaluation, we can correlate the not just the thematic part of the content, but we can also correlate a similar kind of wherein there is the similar kind of the structure, the rhyming
Yes.
scheme, or we can have the comparison of the poetic devices coming up either in Hindi language or in Punjabi language, or even if the similar poem in a different class. So those things can be there into evaluation. Okay, that this is a poem which has this type of poetic device, this type of rhyming scheme, these type of comparisons being used, and you can have a similar kind of a poem in your previous class, or in another class, or in a coming into a newspaper. So just to make the child not just to have the habit of reading his own book, but he must have get developed into addition of something new into his vocabulary as words through the newspaper or magazines or like that. So those relating it with the other languages or into the similar language. So that is there. And even if you can have the relation with the science subject where the animal kingdom is being talked about. So therein also this is possible for an English teacher to correlate it with the different subjects. So that is also
Yes,
there.
sir.
Otherwise, you have done it very perfectly. I
Thank
am
you, sir.
able to show you for the taxonomy. So comprehending the meaning of the poem, analyzing the different events mentioned in the poem, write their own experience coming across a snake, and then explore pronunciation of words, articulation of voice, and literary devices related to the poem. Then frame sentences based on the difficult words including in the poem, and appreciate various literary elements covered in the poem. So these are the different means they are able to appreciate only when they are going to relate it with different other similar things. So these are the examples of the instructional objectives for this lesson. So thank you all for, I appreciate the role of the teachers, because just within 1 hour they have been just asked to prepare. So that's good on for the participation. I clap for them that they have done it good job for framing the instructional objectives. So last part, that we are still not over with our teaching. We have still lot of substance in us left, and teaching is such a job. Even up to the last day, even up to the our death, we can teach. So there are a lot things need to improve. We can certainly do better for our future generation. We can change the way the teachers learners are thinking, and we can make him a good citizen of our society. So with these words, I say that we have not to be become dead fish, still need to improve upon. We can continue improving ourselves. I myself still continuing learning from each one of us, and doing something better. So from your experiences also, I'm going to learn. So thank you very much. So this is my number. If you had any kind of doubts or clarifications, you can always call me at this number. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijay sir. And we are really, really grateful from the bottom of our hearts. I can assure you that, sir. And it was very, very enlightening, sir, to know about it. And once again, I would like to thank Dr. Vijay Chethi, sir, for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge.